Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. This is Fitness Pilates for Better Balance Masterclass. So I really hope you can join me for this live, or if you're watching this on catch up and you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Couple of pieces of kit that I really need you to grab. We're going to be using a spiky ball to release the feet. I'm also going to use a block for a little bit of a balance challenge. If you want to use a block, brilliant. If you haven't got a block, you could always use a book, or you could use a rolled up towel, whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you. And then also, gang, we are going to do some release work as well with the band. So feel free to grab your band as well, and you can move that out of the way. I'm going to give you a little bit of theory to start with. So let me know if you are joining me on this one. Hey, Alison, great stuff. Hey, Belinda. Hey, Nick. Good to have you all on board. I'm hoping that the picture's really clear for you, and I'm hoping the sound's really clear. I'm going to put the music on just in the background for the moment. I'm going to turn it off while I'm doing some theory. But if you could just give me a little bit of feedback, first of all, just on... First of all, how that audio is, let me know. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm just going to check as we're going in. I'm just going to check through. Oh, Sylvia, it has been ages. We miss you. Joe, my lovely, I need you to do an update on your StreamYard, my love, because it's only coming out as a Facebook user for you. And I need to see your lovely name. So when we've finished, if you just click on the StreamYard link, and then I will be able to see your name come up. That'd be perfect. Okay, awesome. That's great. Sounds clear. You can hear the music in the background, which is great. Awesome. Okay. So let me give you a little bit of theory, gang. Okay, so start with balance is something that we all struggle with throughout our life. And I think a lot of, especially women, struggle with their balance, and they really don't understand why there is a huge change, especially around the menopause. And I know we've been talking about the menopause quite a lot, and it's something that's quite out there at the moment. A lot of people are focusing on it. But it does play a huge impact with regards to your balance. And I just want you to understand why. So when you go through the menopause, when you're perimenopausal or you're going through the menopause, you'll have changes which will go on with regards to the crystals within your ears. And this is where a lot of women struggle when they lay on their back, that they find that they actually feel quite sick. I'm just going to let Bentley in because he wants to come and join us tonight. So they find that they feel quite sick when they lay on their back, or they feel quite dizzy, or they have this sensation of vertigo. And it's because the crystals within the ear actually change as your hormones are changing and you're going through the menopause. And it affects your balance. So a lot of women will go through their life and they'll be able to balance absolutely fine. And then they hit the menopause and it's like, oh my gosh, actually, my balance has really been affected. So that's the first thing to be aware of. The balance also changes with regards to the function of the feet. So if your feet are being jammed into shoes that essentially aren't great for you, and they're really restricted, and they're finding that actually they are stopping the feet from being able to move effectively, then you'll find that your balance is being altered as well. So we want to be able to actually move our feet through. They want to be able to flex and extend, rotate. They want to be able to go through inversion and eversion, supination and pronation all the way through. And obviously our shoes that we wear can affect that. So if you're in really restricted shoes all day and you take those shoes off, when you're trying to balance, you'll find that your feet will be affected because of that. And then also our feet and our balance can be affected because of bunions. And this is something, again, that a lot of people experience. So if you're experiencing a bunion, again, which can be caused by restricted shoes, that changes the way that your foot places. It changes your weight distribution. So if you know you suffer with like a hardening of the knuckle in the foot, and you've actually got evidence there that there is a bunion, then again, that your balance will be affected. So the things I'm going to focus on more than ever tonight is releasing the feet, hence why I'm going to use the spiky ball. So I'm going to focus on really releasing and getting everything moving as much as possible. So the feet are super free. So we're not setting ourselves up to fail straight away. I'm also going to focus on giving you some proprioception, and that's where I'm going to use the block. And that could be then advanced into using something like a Bosu or a wobble board eventually to make that even harder for you. And the other thing is, if there is tightnesses that's going on through the Achilles, through the calf, through the hamstrings, then that again will change our balance. A lot of people don't realize as well that your inner thighs will be affected. So if your inner thighs are excessively tight, then that can also affect your placement of your hips, the hip alignment, and affect your balance. So I'm going to definitely stretch out through the inner thighs from here as well. So I'm really hoping it's going to be informative for you. If there is any questions that you've got going on, then I definitely want you to ask. I am going to do a lot of standing work. We are going to come down to the floor and we are going to work in balance. And I'm going to give you some key pointers to improve your balance on all fours, some key pointers to improve your balance in side lying as well, which hopefully are going to help you. So if there's any questions, let me know. No problem. Yeah. That's absolutely fine, Joe. Don't worry. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to first of all release the feet. And I'm going to then give you some tips when you're standing to really help you with your balance, especially if you're struggling from one side to the other. So I want you to place your spiky ball or your tennis ball or your golf ball, your lacrosse ball, whatever you've got underneath your right foot. And I want you to release that foot first of all, and you're working in a linear fashion. So you're going from the front to the back of your foot. You're going under your heel, the arch, under your toes, around the ball of the foot. If there is evidence of any bunions, I want you to work into that as well, around the side of the foot as much as you can. Now, I want you to keep that going while I'm going to pop some music on. So still work through the foot gang as much as possible. And really think about how your foot feels. Now, if there's any sweet spots that you find, so any areas that feel quite tight, I want you to work into them a little bit stronger. So work into around the arch of the foot, under the toes. Because again, if the fascia at the bottom of the foot is very tight, it's going to affect your balance. And I really need you to press heavy into this foot. So don't go light because you know it's going to tickle. I want you to go heavy and push. So really work into that foot as much as you can. When that feels good for you, we're going to anchor the heel and let the toes creep over the ball and try and put as much weight as we possibly can into that foot. It's almost as if you could lift your left foot off the ground. So the heel is down, the toes are over, and you've got this compression here into these trigger points of the foot. Bend the knee as much as you need to, and you're really pressing as much weight in there. When you're ready, you're going back to your rub. So you're going forward and back and feeling that release again into your foot. So working through into any areas that feel like they need it. Going a little bit deeper, a little bit further each time you can. And spend as much time as you want here. Those of you that are instructors and you've got clients that need to be seated, they could also do this seating, which is absolutely fine. So whenever that feels good for you, you're going to go back to the heel down and the toes creep over. The foot comes parallel and we're going to start to squat. So I want you to push the weight back and down. Press through and sink into this. Now keep that going. Really press through. Pushing all your weight into that side that's got the ball. Making that as heavy as possible. Feeling the work coming through there. I know it's going to be harder for you to balance with your foot on the ball. We've got this compression here. Good work. Go back to the rub. Now you might find that those sweet spots, those tender spots, or that tickling has kind of diminished a little bit, and we now can work a little bit deeper, a little bit harder. Work into the toes, around the heel. And when you've given that good release, again, we're going to go back to our heel down, the ball underneath the mid-metatarsal of the foot, toes creep over. And we're going to place our other foot the other way. Bentley's joining us tonight. We're going to take a breath. We're going to roll down halfway. Place our hands on our thighs just above our knees and push forward. Feel the release in the back and roll up whenever you're ready, vertebrae by vertebrae. Roll through the back, inhale, lift up. Either lift to the ceiling or baby back bend, you choose. And come down again, hands above the thighs, above the knees, just on the thighs, wherever you feel comfortable, into that flat back position. Roll up. I'm going to show this from a side profile. I want you to do a couple more with me. Inhale, exhale, lift. Hands come onto the legs. Push forward and lengthen. And feel that really lovely release there. Inhale, exhale, and rise. Roll through the back. Lift up. Let's take one more. Inhale, exhale, push forward, push your bottom back, feel the stretch, and then roll up. And gang, we're going to do about 20 seconds more of this deep release in the foot. So really pushing here, as much weight as you possibly can, quite ferocious here into this foot. Get that to really release for you. When you've done about 20 seconds, I want you to take a walk around and just think about how your foot feels. Possibly it might feel like it's more spread out. It might feel like it's widened. It might feel like it's slightly lighter as well. We want to get the same sensation going on in the other side. So when that's good for you, you're going to go into the rub, forward and back. And again, working into all placements of your foot. So under your toes, around your heel, the ball of your foot, the arch of your foot. If you struggle with bunions, then definitely there as well. And let's work into it as much as you possibly can. So letting that release for you. Whenever that feels good, you're going with your heel down, the ball under the mid-metatarsal joint of the foot, toes creep over the edge, and we're trying to put as much weight as we possibly can into this leg. So the other leg is really nice and loose, almost like you could lift it off the floor. Bend the knee, stretch into the Achilles and the calf a little bit deeper. Get that compression happening. Feel the release. And then when you're ready, go back to your rub. There's so many restrictions that you can have within the foot that will affect your balance. So working with the feet first, and I know they say this a lot, you know, when I've done my deep dives for fitness Pilates with like the hip and the knee, I've always talked about feet first. It makes a huge difference. So give that foot a good release. When that feels good for you, heel down underneath the mid-metatarsal joint, toes creep over, other foot goes parallel, and we're going to go into our squats. You'll probably find you won't be able to go so low, not as low as you normally go, because your toes are lifted and your heel is down. You're going to really press through here. You can do as many repetitions as you feel you need to. When you're ready, you're going into that rub again. So rubbing through, around, again, the arch, under the toes. Make that work for you. Great work. And then when that feels good for you, remember you're going back to that same placement, foot parallel. Inhale, exhale, and you're going into your roll. Hands onto your thighs, just above your knees, push forward. Look forward and feel the release into the back. If the feet are tight, they're going to affect the rest of the body as well. So not just your balance, but they'll also affect how your hips feel, your hamstrings, your lower back, your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, and rise. Let's do a couple more here. Lifting and lowering. Let that release for you. One more. Good work. Now remember, after this one, we're going to work into that foot a little bit stronger, a little bit deeper. So I want you to push heavy. Go quite heavy into this foot. Let that release as much as you possibly can. That's it. About 20 seconds. And then I want you to go for your walk around. You can move your spiky ball out of the way. Think about how those feet feel. They should feel slightly different. Just going to move Bentley's Kong out of the way as well. Okay, gang, so release your feet. We're going to focus then into some balance work. So our feet go directly underneath our hip bones. If you struggle with that, feel free to place your feet together, turn your toes out, realign your heels with your toes so that brings you into that position. Now, really think about an even distribution of your weight between your right and your left foot. You're going to grow tall from the top of your head. Pelvis is going to come into neutral spine. We engage the muscles in the abdominals. Just relax and roll your shoulders back. Loosen off here. I'm going to allow your upper body to relax. Take your circle of your whole arm. So one thing to be aware of is a lot of people with their balance is that the balance is off because their feet aren't under their hip bones. They have this habit of lifting a leg and then bringing that foot back underneath, but it's coming under too close. It's not going underneath the hip bone each time. So if we squat down and then lift our right leg up, and then squat down, and then lift our left knee up. And you'll notice I'm bringing that foot underneath your hip bone each time. And that's really important because if you lift your knee up and you bring your leg too close and then take your squat, As you lift your leg, you're already going to be off balance, and you'll probably find that you'll wobble there. So feet underneath your hip bones each time. So as you put your foot down, really be aware of that placement and go wider if you need to. Never be afraid to take your feet wider. That will help with your hip mobility as well as you're pressing through. Brilliant. So coming down and then lifting. Coming down and then lifting up. Good work. So gang, I'm going to focus on the right side. Feet underneath the hip bones. I want you to really focus on your left foot. Think about your big toe, your little toe, the back of your heel. You've got an even distribution of your weight here into that leg. We bring the other foot forward, and I'm going to point and flex the foot. Now, if you need to, you can hold the wall and then gradually just have a finger on the wall to gradually then not have anything on the wall but have the security of the wall there, if that works for you. I'm going to rotate the ankle here. Big circles round. Go the other way when that feels good for you. Good work. Change sides. Now make sure you put your feet under your hip bones and your right foot is distributed properly. You're not clenching onto your toes. You're really pushing a big toe into the ground, little toe, back of the heel. So many people don't place their feet properly. They crunch up their feet or they have their feet too close together. And then that's when they're wobbling. So a lot of people's balance is just body awareness. Point and flex the foot. Rotate the ankle whenever you're ready. And go the other way when that feels good for you. Superb. Okay, I'm going to bring your attention back, focusing on our left foot. Get that grounded here. Big toe, little toe. Really think about the points of your foot. Now, what I want you to do is look forward. Don't necessarily look at me, just listen to me. Look forward and pick a focal point, something that's not moving in front of you, and I want you to keep your eyes on that point. We're going to then bring our foot forward and back. And your focus is on that point, and it's at your eye line. Because if you drop your head too low, you'll find you'll topple forward. So I want you to keep your head up as you brush your leg forward and back, and keep your eyes on that focal point. We can then start to brush the leg forward and back. Squeeze the muscles in the bottom, activate through here as much as you can. Be aware of how that feels for you. So keeping your eyes up at that point is going to really help your balance. So let's challenge you a little bit more. Let's come across and open. And again, I want you to think about keeping your eyes on that point. You're not looking down. You don't need to look at me. Often when you look at someone wobbling, it makes you wobble as well. So I want you to then lift the leg when that feels good for you. So let that release. Perfect. Feel free to pedal through your feet anytime you're ready. So I want you to allow that to relax and release. Good work. Change sides whenever you're ready. So we're going to come tall onto this supporting leg. And the other leg is going to come forward and back. Big squeeze in the muscles into your bottom. Remember, you're looking forward and you're picking that focal point, something in front of you that's not moving. Think about the placement of your right foot. Think about the points that are under it. Almost see like 3 points, your big toe, your little toe, the back of your heel. When that's ready, you can lift the leg up and down. Notice that balance. And it might be different from right to left. That's normal. All these things will help. Come across and open. So again, working in a different plane of motion, you can lift and open that out just as far as you want. Feel the release there into the hip as far as you wish to go. Do as many as you want and then pedal through your feet again and allow that to relax and release. So another little tool that you can use to help balance is to start working through the feet a little bit stronger. So I'm going to come up onto the right heel, up onto the left, down on the right, down on the left. So we go up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Good stuff. From here, I'm going to add the arm. Make this harder. Lift, lift, lower. You don't have to rush. You could do this slower if you wish. We're aware of how that is with our right heel leading. Good work. Now, pedal through the feet and just loosen off. Well done. Going on to your left side. Left heel lifts. Up, up, down, down. Lift, lift, lower, lower. Come up. Good work. So that's it. Just see how that feels. Adding in your arm whenever you're ready. Now there may be a difference when you lead with your left to when you lead with your right, and that's quite normal. But all these things will help just work on that balance. Good work. Okay, release the feet. This is where the block's going to come into play. So grab a block or grab a book, whatever you can do, you can use. And I'm going to stand up onto my right side. So again, a lot of people's balance is affected because actually majority of the UK have a leg length difference. Now, those of you that know me well, you know that I talk about mine a lot. My leg length difference. So if I'm then lifting up on one side and standing on one side, it's going to be different as I stand on the other side. It's almost like my leg gets in the way as I'm coming through. Whereas when you stand on a block, you've just got so much more room to be able to move the leg freely. So I want you to stand on your block on your right foot. With your left leg, you're going to brush that through. Now I'm mirroring you, so actually this is my left leg, which is my longer leg. So I'm just brushing that leg forward and back and being aware of how that feels. But I want to do a little bit of engagement here onto the muscles that help to stabilize. So I'm going to hip, hinge, and I'm going to drop my hip and lift. So I'm going to start to train these muscles a little bit more effective. Dropping the hip and lifting up into that hip hinge. And I've got my hands on my hip bones to show you this rock motion that I'm creating here. Now slowly bend and then lift. See how that balance is. Bend and then lift. And you can do this against the wall. Bend and lift. You might find your balance is different with being on the block. Maybe it's better. Maybe that proprioception is kicking in for you as well. Drop and lift. Well done. Good work. Okay, I want you to allow your heel to hang off the back of the block. So if I turn side on, I'm going to put my other foot up. Let me turn this way actually. I want you to allow that heel to hang off the edge and feel that deep length going down the back of the calf into the Achilles. A lot of people's calves are so tight. And that affects their balance. So giving that a good stretch, using the block. You could do this on a step as well if you wanted to. Abdominals strong. Let's bend the knees, come down low. Feel that release. Well done. Coming up when that feels good for you. Relaxing, we're changing over to the other side. So I'm going to bring my foot onto the block and I'm going to come into my brush. Forward and back, squeeze the muscles in the bottom. Be aware of how that feels. So this essentially is my shorter leg. So normally on this side I struggle more than ever. But being on the block, I've got so much more room here to be able to swing that leg through and forward. Good work. Let's go into the hip hinge. So we're going to drop down and left. So what I'm trying to do is rock through that pelvis. And I'm trying to activate through the lower back and through the hips to make that work a little bit more effective. So we're hip hinging, lift and lower. Well done. I know it feels a little weird, it probably looks a little strange, but it really helps. That's it. When you're ready, you're coming down and then lifting up to balance. Coming low and then lifting up. Being aware of how that feels. You're balancing on that block. Taking that down into that squat position and then knee high. Down and then lift. Well done. One more time. Beautiful. Let's stretch out again through that calf. So we're feeling that there, stretching through just as far as you wish. Bend through the knees as much as you need to. Feel that stretch down deep into the calf, the Achilles. Great work. You're going to move your block out of the way. Gang, I want you to roll down to the floor. Come down on all fours. So I'm going to give you a couple of tips here on all fours to really help you with your balance in this position. And again, a lot of this is about body awareness. It's about placement and alignment that's going to benefit you. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure your hands are under your shoulders. They're not too far forward or too far back. I want you to make sure your knees are under your hips. They're not too close in. You're going to really almost visualize 4 points underneath you, and you're going to come back to those points each time. Make sure there's no hypermobility in your elbows. So slightly turn your hands in if you wish. Bend through the elbows so the insides of your elbows face each other, not forward. Because again, if you're working in hypermobility, it's going to affect your balance. When you do Superman, you can walk your fingers and your foot along the floor and then lift up. As you come back, you lower down and place that hand and knee underneath exactly the same place. Walk along, lift up, bring it back, and then lower down. So you're not thinking you've got to lift up straight away. You're coming out to the furthest point where you're still in contact. You've got an even distribution of your weight between the opposite hand and leg. Then you lift, and then you lower and bring it back. Most people struggle in Superman with their balance because when they bring their leg back, their knee comes too close towards the other knee. And essentially, you're the same as if you were standing with your feet together. You'll wobble. So what I want you to really think about is placing that knee underneath the hip bone each time. So you're going to push away, You're going to lift up, you're going to come back, and then you're going to lower down, change sides. You're going to push away, you're going to lift up, you're going to come back, and you're going to lower down. Release the back. Good work. So we stretch away, head down, let that back release. So let's give you some pointers of side lying to help you here. First and foremost, I need your lower hip happy, because if that hip is not happy, it's going to affect your balance because you're going to feel like you want to wobble. So if it's not good for you to lay in a straight line, then feel free to move your lower leg and you can bend it either backwards or forwards, but so that your hips stay stacked. And that might be more comfortable for you. You also might need something underneath that hip to cushion it. Feel free to have your block under your head so you're more comfortable there. Hand forwards for support if you need. Abdominals stay braced. Now, if that lower leg doesn't feel like it needs to bend, but you still feel like a little bit wobbly, you might want to bring the legs on the 45-degree angle, and that might feel better for you there. So pull the waist away from the floor. We're going to take the top arm above the head. Inhale, exhale, and we're going to lift and lower. You can raise your top leg if you wish. Exhale, lift and lower. Up there. Superb. Lift up. You're working through the side of your waist. This is side bend. So feel free again, like I said, bend the lower leg. See how that feels. What works for you? You're lifting your waist away from the floor, not letting it crash in. I'm going to do 2 more. 1 more. Beautiful. We release. Come back. Stretch the back. Feel free to come into a cat stretch. Let that release for you as you come up and down. We're going to go on the other side. What I want you to understand is that your other side is different. Don't think that you will do the same on equal sides. So maybe you bent your lower leg on your first side, and on this side you don't need to, or vice versa. But don't think that just because you did something on the first side that you will do it on the second side, because your body is not symmetrical. So as you bring this body long, I want you to be aware of how that feels. So again, do you need your block underneath your head, in between you and your arm? Do you need to move your legs more on the 45-degree angle? Do you need to bend your lower leg either forward or backwards? Lift your waist away from the floor and stack your hips. Arm above the head. Inhale, exhale, lift. Lower when you wish. Good work. So again, we've got this little side bend working through our waist, working through our obliques. The abdominals stay strong. A lot of it's to do with comfort. So make sure your lower hip is really comfortable. Do you need a couple of mats? Do you need a cushion underneath that hip to make that feel better for you? Take it at your pace, your tempo. Do what feels good for you. I'm going to do 1 more. Brilliant. This time you're going to roll onto your back. So I want you to bring your knees into your chest and just allow your back to relax. So at this point is where we might need our band, because we're going to release our inner thighs. And again, a lot of people don't realize that when your inner thighs are tight, they affect your balance. So I want them to be really nice and released. When it feels good for you, you're going to take the band around your right foot. We're going to hold on with our right hand only. Pelvis stays level. Feel free to have your left leg bent if you need to, or you can have it straight. We're going to open the leg wide to the side. But what we're not going to do is let the pelvis twist. So if you find that your left hip starts to rise, just bring your leg back in, recorrect, and only take it out as far as you wish. Stay nice and strong here through the pelvis. I want you to be aware of how your inner thigh feels. If those muscles feel tight, it might be why your balance is off. So we really need to stretch these as much as possible. With your leg out, flex your foot and point your toes. I know that feels weird, doing it right out there. But it's going to help. Flex the foot and point. Good work. Hold the foot flex, pull the toes to you, shoot your heel away, but your leg is out as far as you can go. Now, can you turn your toes up, heel down? I know that's going to feel a little weird. Feeling that stretch coming through a slightly different area of your inner thigh. Turn your toes down, heel up as much as you can. I know that might be quite difficult, so be aware of that. Bring the leg back up to the ceiling and then give that leg a shake. We're going to change over the other side. This foot comes up, holding on with our left hand. Right leg bent or straight, whatever you want to do. We're going to open the leg wide to the side. So remember, your pelvis stays level. I know for me personally, this hip, this inner thigh feels much tighter. So I want you to take a moment just to compare yourself from your right to your left side. Be aware of that. Flex the foot and point the toes. Flex and point. Notice how that changes the stretch. Hold the foot flexed, turn the toes up and the heel down. Notice how that changes the stretch. Turn the toes down and the heel up. Notice how that changes the stretch. And then bring the leg back up to the ceiling. Well done, we release. We're going to hug our knees to our chest, let our lower back release. And slowly come up. Sit comfy for you. So I know tonight there was not much floor base, but that's because I wanted to improve your balance. So there was a lot of standing work instead. Just stretch your waist. However, anytime I make you balance, especially standing, you're working your abdominals. So please don't feel like you haven't worked. You absolutely still have. Change sides. You've worked through those tummy muscles, but in a standing format. Hands back behind you, lift the chest. Good work. We're going to slowly bring ourselves round. Turn the toes under, lift the hips up. And then walk your hands back to your feet. Bend the knees and slowly rise. Vertebrae by vertebrae. Bring the neck and head up last and roll your shoulders back. Release here. We take a breath. Inhale. Exhale and roll down. Let the weight of your head bring you over. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Relax through your back. Relax through your shoulders. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale and rise. As we come up, we're going to take a squat down and come into balance, lift. Think about how that feels now. Squat down. I'm hoping that's going to feel a lot better, a lot easier than it did at the start of the class whenever I made you balance, because we've released the feet, we've released the ankles, we've released the Achilles, the calf, the inner thighs. We focused on our placement of our feet. It's made a difference for us. One more. Good work. Gang, release, relax those feet, loosen off. Take a breath, inhale. As you exhale, I want you to grow taller. Let your spine lengthen, shoulders away from your ears. Take another breath. As you exhale, bring your pelvis into neutral. Grow taller from the top of your head. And one more time, breathe in, lift up. As you exhale, breathe away any last little bit of tension from your body and just think about how you feel now. Take your right arm above your head and your left. Right hand forward and your left. Right palm in and your left. Give yourselves and each other a superb round of applause. Gang, I really hope that you found that was helpful for you with regards to your balance. Those of you that are instructors that are doing this for content and working on all of those things that I've just done will really help your participants with regards to their balance. So I know essentially we didn't do much floor work, but we did a lot of standing work there, and I hope you felt the benefits from that. So any questions? Don't hesitate to contact me. Don't hesitate to ask. Thanks, Sylvia. I'm glad you enjoyed that tonight. Those of you that are in my VIP group, tomorrow we've got Fitness Pilates LBT, legs, bums and tums at 9:15. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing Fitness Pilates Transform, which is going to be at 7:00. So that's going to be transformation, transform, whole body workout. Alison, thank you. Thanks, Belinda. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will hopefully see you soon. Take care. Thanks, gang.